we'll go ahead and bring to order the Washoe County Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting for Tuesday, November 2nd. Roll call, please.
Stephanie Chen,
Present.
Heidi Anderson,
Present.
Doug Doolittle,
Present.
Darla Lee,
Here.
Chris Nenzel,
Present.
Jennifer Oliver, here, Greg Shorts.
Perfect. We have a quorum. Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Oliver, would you like to lead us? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
and to the
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Okay. Go ahead and move on to item 4, approval of the agenda for November 2nd. Any additions or corrections?
This is Doug Doolittle, move to approve.
Christopher Menzel, second.
Okay, I heard a first and a second. Do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Item 5, approval of the minutes for the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting of September 7th, 2021. Any corrections? Hearing none. Okay.
This is Jennifer Oliver. Move to approve the minutes from the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting of September 7th,
Thank you.
2021.
This is Heidi Anderson, second.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 6, acknowledgement and recognition of park operations staff for their outstanding service and contributions to Washoe County.
Good afternoon, Park Commissioners, staff. For the record, Colleen Wallace, Barnum, Park Operations Superintendent. I'm excited to have some awards today to hand out. So first, I would like to welcome up here Rob Brown. Rob, if you can come on up here with me. I would like to let everybody know that Rob, make sure I have the right one, see, that's why I look. Rob has been working for Washoe County Parks for 20 years, so he gets his 20-year certificate today. He confirmed for me this morning that he actually started at our central shop while the north shop was being built, so maybe about 18 years ago. And then the remainder of the 18 years, he's been a park maintenance worker in the north region. So we really appreciate all of the time and dedication that you've provided for the North Parks in Washoe County. And then I also want to make sure I recognize that Rob is one of our residents in one of our park residences. He lives out at Bowers Mansion Park, and we have to call on him for additional service from time to time in the capacity of a park resident. So we appreciate your dedication there as well. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Thank
And
you.
your pin and your 20-year certificate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, the next person I'd like to welcome up is Mike Furlong. Mike, come on up. So Mike Furlong also has his 20-year certificate of continuous service with Washoe County Parks. Mike started his career as a park maintenance worker. And then about 2 years later, he became an irrigation specialist, has been an irrigation specialist for about 15 years. And then recently, in the last 2 years, was promoted to our project and safety coordinator. So we keep him busy, plenty busy. And Mike also is one of our residences. He lives out at the Del Monte House, which is by Bartley Ranch Park. So we have called on Mike for his services in the middle of the night for alarm calls or what have you. So congratulations, Mike. And we're just excited that you have your 20 years in.
Yep, me too. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Here's your 20-year certificate. Okay. Thanks.
Congratulations, Rob and Mike, and thank you for your years of service. We appreciate it. All right, that's great. Okay. We will go ahead and move on to item 7. And do we have an Eagle Scout presentation today?
No, we don't.
All right. The next thing on the agenda, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a lease agreement between Washoe County and Our Story, Inc. for the lease of the garage structure at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park for the term of 5 years commencing December 14th, 2021 through December 14th, 2026.
Okay, for the record, Colleen Wallace, Barnum, Park Operations Superintendent. Thank you. So Kenneth Dalton, president of Our Story Incorporated, provided the Open Space and Regional Park Commission a presentation about the desired use of the garage structure at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park at the August 3rd Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting. At the recommendation of this board, we have been moving forward with a lease agreement, which was included in our packet. I wanted to let everybody know that we did reach out to our building department, met with Scott Huntley. He's one of our building inspectors. We met with him out there at mid-September at the request of the commission. He actually did not have any issues with the desired use of the garage structure as a museum. And he confirmed, just based on the size of the structure, that the max capacity would be roughly 50 people. And he really didn't see any issues. He had just some minor recommendations for some repairs before we gave it over to Our Story, which would, be something we could take care of with our facilities staff and our park staff. So, but we felt pretty positive after meeting with Scott Huntley that we could move forward as desired. So I drafted the lease agreement. Our Story has reviewed it. And there is a representative here today, our executive director. So Kenneth couldn't make it, but if you have any questions, we do have representation here from Our Story if you have any questions.
Thank you for the updates, Colleen. Do we have any questions?
I do.
So is this ready? Once this is executed, that they're ready to take, or do we have to make those repairs prior to?
So you can make the recommendation, and we move forward with that today, and then we would take it to Board of County Commissioners for the agreement approval December 14th. In the meantime, what we could do is, based on today's approval, we could start moving forward with cleaning out all of the supplies. And I did confirm with our North Region Maintenance Supervisor that they have plenty of space at other facilities to, put the equipment, it's irrigation parts and some things like that. So we did confirm that they can move forward with getting everything out of there. And then once we get everything out of there, it'll be easier to do some of those necessary repairs. So we have roughly 6 weeks before we go to the board for approval.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Not hearing anything. So this is up for possible action. There is a recommendation for a motion. Do we have any public comment on this item? Okay. Is anyone comfortable with making a motion?
Madam Chair, this is Doug Doolittle. I would like to make the motion, if you don't mind.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Commissioner Doolittle.
I would like to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the lease agreement between Washoe County and Our Story, Inc. for the lease of the garage structure of Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park for the term of 5 years commencing December 14, 2021 through December 14, 2026.
All right, thank you.
Menzel, all second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. All in favor, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, okay. We'll go ahead and move on to item 9, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a participating agreement for interpretive services at the Galena Creek Visitors Center between Washoe County, the United States Forest Service, and Great Basin Institute, commencing on December 31st, 2021 through December 31st, 2026.
Okay, for the record, Colleen Wallace, Barnum Park Operations Superintendent. So you have before you the staff report, the agreement that has had some write-up from the Forest Service, in addition to some fiscal information in regards to the agreement. So to give some background, the Galena Creek Recreation Area was developed through joint funds between the United States Forest Service and Washoe County. It's located directly north of Galena Creek Regional Park on federal land. Washoe County Park staff worked closely with the Forest Service on plans for the recreation area, and that also included the development and operations of the Galena Creek Visitor Center. So a special use permit was issued to Washoe County by the Forest Service to operate and maintain the recreation area in 2009. Unfortunately, this was during the economic recession, and Washoe County's park budget was cut significantly, and it became clear that Washoe County would have a difficult time staffing the visitor center. At that time, Washoe County entered into an agreement with Great Basin Institute to offer in-kind services in consideration for rent for the Galena Creek Park residents. The agreement is still in place today, and actually we just renewed the agreement in April of this year. And the Great Basin Institute has continued to provide services such as summer youth programs, camps, overnight camps at the park, fall, winter, and spring break camps. And then they do a variety of environmental education programs based out of the visitor center itself. So the visitor services and the programming of the Galena Creek Visitor Center can continue to be realized through this participating agreement for interpretive services. And the agreement is unique. It allows all three entities to cooperatively manage the visitor center and to allow Great Basin Institute to continue to enhance and expand visitor services. The only time we really struggled with this was during COVID, when we had to have everything shut down. So the visitor center has reopened as of September of this year, and it is still open to the public and should remain so unless we hear otherwise. So just wanted to let you know updates on that. And it would be great, I was thinking it would be great for this commission to hear probably some updates from them on some of their programming at a future meeting.
Thank you, Colleen, for that update. Do we have any questions for Colleen?
On mute. This is Doug Doolittle. Sorry, I was on mute. No questions really, but I applaud the effort that's been put forth by everybody over the years on this particular project. And I agree with you, Colleen, as far as having an update. That would periodically, that'd be great for everybody to hear it, and including the public.
Okay, I'll be sure to get that on the agenda.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Any public comment on this item?
No, we don't.
Okay. So this is also up for possible action, and there is a motion that can be made.
Commissioner Shorts, move to approve a participating agreement interpretive service between the Great Basin Institute, Washoe County Parks and Open Space, and the U.S. Department of Agricultural Forest Service, Humboldt-Toyobe National Forest, for continued cooperative visitor service programming at Galena Creek Visitor Center and Recreation Area, and to be taken to the Board of County Commissioners for possible approval.
Thank you, Commissioner Shorts. Do we have a second?
This is Doug Doolittle, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we will go ahead and move on to item 10, presentation, discussion, and possible approval for an off-leash dog pilot program to allow off-leash dogs at various sports fields within Washoe County parks by Celia Walker.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Celia. So for the record, Colleen Wallace, Barnum Park Operations Superintendent. Just to give some reference for this item, off-leash dogs in parks are a common occurrence. If any of you visit our parks, I'm sure you've seen them. And in accordance with our Chapter 95.220, dogs are required to be leashed in parks unless in a designated area for off-leash use. Park rangers talk with park visitors, often multiple times in a day, about leash requirements in parks and attempt to provide attractive alternative options for park patrons with off-leash dogs. Park staff have been working on this proposal and are looking forward to presenting some of the details to you all today. And I'd like to introduce Celia Walker. Celia is a park ranger too in the Peavine District. She works out of Rancho San Rafael Regional Park, and she'll be providing the presentation today about the off-leash dog pilot program. And we will both be available after the presentation for questions. Come on up, Celia.
Hi there, I'm Celia Walker. Thank you, Colleen. So Colleen described it well, that yes, we have to talk to people multiple times a day to tell them to leash their dogs, and we thought, you know, it'd be great to give them an alternative, somewhere to go that was convenient. You would get a lot less angry people and, you know, less energetic dogs because you have someplace to run. So first slide here. Okay, so why do we need off-leash areas? Our population really grew last year. So according to 2020, it was 504,000. The national average of households owning at least one dog is 39%. And so based on that national average, we have about 197,000 dogs as pets in our area here. So here's some info on what we have in the Truckee Meadows, which is Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County. So we have 6 actual dog parks: Whitaker, Virginia Lake, Link Piazzo, Sparks Marina, the biggest little dog park, and Cyan Park is the newest. And we have 2 off-leash areas, which are Rancho San Rafael and Whittekind Regional Park. We have 3,819 acres of developed parks in Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County. There's also an option of BLM and U.S. Forest Service open space. They have multi-use on their public lands, including target shooting. Many pet owners are not willing to take their dogs on public lands for the threat of wildlife, people. There's no turf on there. There's lots of thorns, stickers. They'll throw a ball and never be able to find it again. And you have to drive quite a bit to get to public lands to let your dog out. We have so many apartments, new apartments in the area here. We have a lot of people searching for open space to let their dogs run. The off-leash areas and dog parks we have are extremely busy, and they are impacted by the growing population here. So based all on these factors, we called around to see what other cities were doing. City of Boise, you know, they have a similar climate, population numbers, topography, and parks compared with the Truckee Meadows here. And for the past 5 years, they've implemented an off-leash program on their soccer fields during non-league use and certain non-use times. So I spoke at length with the athletic fields manager there. And here's a lot of the logistics and benefits that they have found. So all of their program here, they use soccer fields. Just in the off-season, November through the end of February, beginning March, they have off-leash allowed during park hours, which are 8 a.m. to sunset here in the Truckee Meadows. During soccer season, off-leash is allowed during posted hours of non-team use. For example, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., when no one else has reserved the field. Dogs are not allowed on any softball or baseball fields, only the soccer fields. They have dog waste stations at every field, and a volunteer cleanup is done every spring before soccer season begins. Hours and rules are posted at each athletic field, and they do have an easy-to-navigate website with all the parks and what they offer, including all the off-leash hours and restrictions. So some benefits that they've found. When irrigation comes back on in the spring, they have been pleasantly surprised. The grass has come back green. They've only had minimal damage, nothing to report. Animal control has only been called 2 to 3 times in the past 5 years for some patrons not following the rules. They don't have any geese on their soccer fields. And spreading the wealth over many parks has lessened the impact on any one park or field. So we are proposing to follow City of Boise since they've had such success. We would like to propose a 1-year pilot program for Washoe County Parks here. For Washoe County Parks with flat fields, we'll have off-leash hours during the off-season, November through March. And the same 4 parks will have off-leash hours during non-team use times, March through November. Now, what we were looking for in parks is if it was fenced, that would be the most beneficial. Away from busy roads, not right next to a playground or with other conflicting users. We've gone over the rules for all the off-leash areas. We will have a 4x4 metal sign at each entrance to each off-leash field. And this is what they will say. This field is designated as an off-leash dog area during non-team use. And then we'll have the hours right underneath it, November 1st through March 1st. And there'll be park hours, 8 a.m. to sunset every day. Now, during team use, March 1st through November 1st, it will be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Most league use, they have the fields reserved after 3 p.m. and on the weekends. Then, very large, and we want to get this across to all the public about this, that this is a pilot program. So if rules and the hours are not respected, then this field will not be permitted for off-leash. The program can go away. If rules and hours are followed, the goal is for more park fields, in addition to this one, to be designated for off-leash. And our goal would be to have our sister cities, Reno and Sparks, possibly adopt this program for their parks. There's lots of rules. So continued, aggressive dogs are not permitted on the field. You're legally responsible for your dog's behavior and any injuries or damages he or she causes. You do so at your own risk by entering the dog off-leash area, and you agree to abide by all park rules. Never leave your off-leash area without your dog, leave them unattended or allow them out of sight. Your dog should be under voice control, meaning they are obedient and respond to your commands. And you're required by law, as Washoe County Code Chapter 55, to clean up after your dog and carry a suitable container for dog feces. Remove and dispose of waste in bins provided. We will have trash cans and a dog waste station at every entrance. Continued, always carry a physical leash. Leash dogs when entering and leaving the park. Female dogs in heat are not permitted in this area. And all dogs must have current vaccinations and licenses by law, the Washoe County Code Chapter 55. and no more than 3 dogs per handler. We've got some contact numbers below. So for animal-related emergencies, we would like people to call Washoe County Regional Animal Services Dispatch. And then for questions and concerns, they can call Washoe County Regional Parks. And that is our main line there at Rancho San Rafael. So the 4 parks that we have chosen rather carefully. First one would be at North Valleys Regional Park. There is a lower soccer field. It's 80 by 80. And it's fully fenced. There are 2 entrances into the park, into the field there. And there's a waste management tote also. We will provide another trash can and 2 dog waste stations, as well as 2 signs at each entrance there. North Valleys was really important. There's not any off-leash areas or dog parks in the North Valleys. Lazy 5 Regional Park in Spanish Springs. We've chosen the lower soccer field. Many people are already using this field for off-leash dogs. It is unfenced, although it's surrounded by sagebrush and open space for now. It's very far back from Pyramid Highway. It's in the lower part of the park. And the playground and pavilion are at a distance from the fields. Whites Creek Park. We've chosen this. It's down south. It has a fully fenced soccer field. At the entrance there, we'll be providing trash cans, dog waste stations. It has a lot of parking. It's in a neighborhood. And I think it'll be a good resource for all the new apartment buildings being built down there. Give people an option. Since there are so many new apartment buildings down in the south, we have South Valleys Regional Park as well. That's going to be on the lower soccer field. It's between the library and the playground. Again, a lot of people are using this as well. It has a chain link fence on 2 sides, a split rail and a retaining wall on the other sides. So again, we'll be providing 2 of our large signs and 2 trash cans as well on there. How's it going? Looks like that's the end of the PowerPoint on there. Okay. Well, you should have it in front of you. And we are going to be having a review of this pilot program throughout the year. Since this is a pilot program, we're going to be reviewing every little thing this year. We're going to review the number of users that we get during off-leash hours by the day, the month, and the year. We're going to review the number of users during non-off-leash hours and any public informational interactions we have with them. Dog waste left on the field, number of calls to Washoe County Animal Services, and the number of refilled dog waste bags throughout the year, any damage reports filed, and then comments and suggestions from the public. So how will we collect this data? We have rangers and maintenance park staff who are at these parks anyway. We will observe use during off-leash hours at least once per day. Mostly rangers on our patrols throughout all the parks. Any use during non-off-leash hours will be recorded and the visitor informed of the rules. Rangers and park staff will track number of phone calls with comments or questions and record public responses through social media. Washoe County Regional Animal Services will track the number of calls related to each off-leash field use. And at the end of the year, surveys will be available at each field and online for public feedback of the program. We'll create spreadsheets to be created to display the data collected over the year. Staff recommends that the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission approve moving forward with an off-leash dog pilot program, utilizing various flat fields throughout Washoe County parks as off-leash areas during non-league use times, and evaluate the use after 1 year, so in November of next year. So a possible motion, move to recommend that staff move forward with an off-leash dog pilot program, utilizing various flat fields throughout Washoe County parks as off-leash areas during non-league use times, and evaluate the use after 1 year.
Thank you for the presentation. That's really exciting, and I think that's a great pilot project. I've heard a lot of folks, just mention their want for an off-leash dog park, so that's really cool, and I know that the community will appreciate that. I do have one question just in regard to spreading the word about the pilot program. I assume there's going to be like a press release, maybe social media push out to get the word out?
Yes, we are planning for a huge push with, a press release, news, all of our social media with the county. We really want to stress that these are off-leash areas, not dog parks.
Okay.
So, and that this is a pilot program. Those two things will be really stressed. Just so people are aware that we are looking at them to respect the rules, and it can go away if we have too many problems.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I may, this is
Yes,
Doug
please.
Doolittle. First of all, Celia, great presentation, very comprehensive, and good job getting all the facts out there. And it really is a wonderful pilot program for a lot of reasons, but specifically, the population has grown. The absence of dog parks in the area is noticeable to those pet owners that want to take their dogs out in a safe environment. I would like to see a couple of things. I'd like to see an update as part of the regular park reports, an update quarterly as to how the pilot program's going. I also would encourage you, I know you say you're going to be pretty widespread with the information getting out there. I'd encourage you to make certain that all the leagues are contacted and are notified of what the changes will be, and ask for their cooperation as well. And I would assume, lastly, after you gather all the information, make some kind of decisions at the staff level, you'll be bringing it back to the commission with your findings over the course of the year and what your future recommendations will be.
Yeah, we will definitely be able to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's Commissioner Densel, and as a dog owner, I applaud this. I have to tell you that in the 10 years that my dog and I have been looking for places to play ball, we have searched far and wide for areas that she can run without being chased by aggressive dogs, and just, be herself. I do have a question. Would you consider including the pasture area south of Betsy Collin Donnelly Park in this pilot program?
Possibly in future after this pilot program. But just for this year, we're going to start with the 4 parks, and then we can move on. And Donnelly
well, I would be remiss. Right, I would be remiss in not representing my district, which is where Betsy Collin Donnelly Park is, if I hadn't asked that question. So, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I hope we can add it next year.
Any other questions or comments?
This is Heidi Anderson. I just want to say I'm very excited about this project. I think it is a great use of the infrastructure that already exists and very much needed in the community. And I'm really looking forward to getting an update. So thank you very much for putting this together.
Thank you.
Okay. This is also up for possible action. Do we have any public comment on this item? No. Okay.
Sure.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Jaime Aranda, and I'm the Vice President of my HOA at Galena Country Estates, which is where one of the parks is located, which is Whites Creek, and it's a small park. Noble idea on the lady. I mean, I think it's a good idea what they have, but the 4 parks that she mentioned, 3 of them are pretty good-sized parks. Ours is a very small park, and we pay for the maintenance of the park, by the way. So I'm here to oppose the proposal for our small park because of traffic in our neighborhood. We have 248 homes. This park is located in a little corner of the subdivision, and in years past, we've had some drug dealings going on and issues which rangers and the sheriffs have had to come up to take care of. So needless to say, we do not want all this extra traffic with people that do not know that we do not know that coming in and out, and the speeding that is going to cause, because I worked at the park under Colleen at South Valleys, and I see people come in the morning rushing in there, speeding. We have 15-mile-an-hour signs, and they're speeding because they got to get their dog to run so they can go back to work. So in our subdivision is a small little park. It's a quiet subdivision, and I do not like to see this proposal. The other parks are fine, they're big, they have plenty of parking, and they're not in the middle of a subdivision. The other thing is, we're talking about people with their dogs and aggressive and what have you. I've gone to that park in the mornings because I like to run, and there'll be 6, 7 dogs from somebody else, somewhere else, because I usually know most of my neighbors since I'm the vice president of my HOA, and the dog will start chasing me, trying to chew my shoelace. I told the lady to call her dog, and they won't do it. And if they do, the dog doesn't listen to them. So we don't have control of that. So I called Andy, the park ranger. He'll come over and try to take care of the issue. So that's not what we want. Now, I'm not saying that people are not allowed to come and run their dogs. I'm just saying I don't want our park, if you would please consider it, not to make it known as a open leash dog park. We do not want that. And I appreciate if you would consider that. And thank you. And I'm speaking for my board and also for a lot of people in my community, by the way, who could not make it. So I appreciate if you would consider that. Our park is very small, and we do not need all that traffic and all that issues that comes with people that bring their dogs, especially, and like I said, I work for you guys at the park with Colleen, and I see people bringing their pit bulls or what have you, and they're chasing other dogs. You think they're gonna go listen to them? Heck no, they're out there chasing. I saved a couple of ladies because their dogs got attacked by a bigger dog, and they start crying in front of everything. So we don't want that in our park. Now, at the other parks, there are policing. I was working there. I go over there and tell the people, put your dog on the leash, pick up after your dog. In our park, we don't have that.
Sir,
It's
thank
too
you for your
small.
comment. Unfortunately, public comment is limited to 3 minutes.
Okay, well, that's it. I'm done anyway.
Thank you.
I hope you understand what I meant. Thank you.
Oh, and I think, yeah, thank you, Zainab.
We'll just have you come sign your name when you're done speaking, please.
Hi, my name's John Greco. I'm also on the HOA board at Galena Country Estates. I echo many of Jaime's concerns. Full disclosure, I live across the street from the park. I have small children on the back side of the park. On the other side where the entrance is, I know many of those residents have small children, And again, my concern is for the increased traffic and the safety aspects of what this would bring in a small residential area. The other parks, I don't know about the two in the North Valleys, but they appear to all be quite open and not in the middle of a neighborhood. And those are my comments.
Thank you for your time and for your comments.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Looks like we have another one.
Good afternoon. My name's Vicki LaRiviere, and I'm also a homeowner in the Galena Country Estates area, and I use Whites Creek Park a lot, and I am concerned, one of my concerns when reading the proposal was that you're adding Whites Creek Park in addition to South Valley Sports Complex, lower level, and in the other two areas that you are offering to pilot, Lazy 5 and North Valleys, thank you. You don't have a community neighborhood park in addition to the field. With the number of apartments in the south end of Reno, I would like to suggest that if possible, you just use South Valley lower level as your pilot program initially to see how it works. I also run a sports organization that uses Whites Creek Park. We have several teams that are soccer teams that use Whites Creek Park, and they have to deal with the irresponsibility of some of the people that do use it currently, because that park is used occasionally, quite often, as a dog area, and those owners are not always as responsible as they can be. Even with the signage and the bags, they would probably continue to be irresponsible. And with you advertising that this is an open, off-leash park, that brings other people into the area. The pilot program might best be suited with using South Valley first, because it's an easy access off a public street versus a home development. And that's it. Thank you for your consideration of these thoughts.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments?
We have no additional through Zoom.
Okay. In here. Commissioners, do you have any comments or questions?
I'll add to the comment. I've been looking at the location of the parks on the map, and I would tend to agree that it might not be a bad idea to remove the park at Killington from the proposal. It is what they say it is. It is small. It is in a neighborhood, and I can certainly understand the three folks that took the time out of their day to make the public comments concerned.
Thank you, Commissioner Nenzel. And I guess I just had a question. Celia, I'm not as familiar with White Creek's Park. So as far as, I mean, from what I'm hearing, it's a lot smaller. It's within a neighborhood. As far as accessibility and parking, is there efficient or sufficient parking available for community?
Yeah, it has its own parking lot. I'd
Okay.
probably say about 30 spaces or so. How many would you say? Yeah, 20 to 30. By, soccer practice is always down there.
Okay.
And so parents are always parking in there, and it gets quite busy sometimes. Yeah, you know, it's fully fenced, and I know a lot of people are using that space for an off-leash area anyway. One of the goals of this program is for other park users to be aware that during these hours, there might be off-leash dogs there. So if I'm a parent bringing my child to, you know, the playground or something like that, I know, hey, I'm gonna go after 1 p.m., after the off-leash times if they're not comfortable, or just so I can be aware. And that's part of the problem we're having, is people are coming at whatever hour they want, and other park users are having conflicts. This is gonna be just a 1-year pilot program. If it doesn't work, you know, it'll go away. We don't, you know, have to start with Whites Creek. We were thinking South Valleys might get quite a few people. And so it would be nice to have another option for people in that area to use. I know it is in a neighborhood. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac, and then you enter the park from the cul-de-sac into the parking lot. And it is fully fenced, so I would expect people, you know, part of the rules are to leash your dog to and from the field. You know, sometimes people don't follow the rules, right? But that's just one of the data that we are going to be collecting to see if this will continue or not. The goal is to add more and more fields during non-team use. So I wouldn't expect it to be very busy down in Whites Creek. But, you know, we will respect the neighbors and, you know, we don't want to cause any problems there either. So we're looking for recommendations.
This is Doug Doolittle. I have a couple of questions. One, if you don't mind. First one really is, what's the impact now? How much staff time is being spent there now in dealing with off-leash issues? And what are the cleanup required as a result of that use now?
I can't speak for Whites Creek Park.
But well, that's what I'm talking about is Whites
Okay.
Creek Park, not the others.
Okay. My daughter used to have soccer practice there, and I know we would see a few piles on the fields each week at soccer practice. I didn't see a dog waste station or, you know, easily accessible trash can. We want to make it really easy for people so they're not tempted to just leave it.
A follow-up question to that is that if this was not part of the pilot program, that off-leash use would continue as it currently is going now. Is that correct?
Well, there's not supposed to be off-leash.
Well, I know that,
Yes.
but I'm saying that you have a control problem there now. It is a public park, and without the signage and all the controls that you want to try to put in place to make it part of a pilot program, the activity that the public is concerned about is still going to continue. Is that correct?
Yes.
In your opinion?
Yes, that it will still happen. People go where they like to go or where it's convenient.
Yeah, and I'm very familiar with that park. I know you have to drive through the neighborhood to get into the parking lot, and I know that there's good athletic use of that park, but I myself have seen dogs there off leash, and there was a time that I had to deal with those issues as well. So I understand what you're trying to do, but I also agree with Chris. Maybe you look at the other park areas that are larger park areas, and South Valleys is close to this particular park, and maybe you utilize the information that you get from South Valleys to determine if it's best to expand from there in the South Meadows. I know the South Meadows is growing a lot and a huge dog population. I have a son that goes down to Scion Park on a regular basis, so I know the issues associated with not having space available. So, but that's my thoughts. I mean, I would agree with Chris that maybe we start with it, because it is a pilot program. We start with the larger parks and move from there, knowing full well that you're still going to have issues at that park.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. We could do that.
For the record, Colleen, Wallace, Barnum, I was just going to offer up what we can do is just try to gather some input from the ranger staff and the maintenance staff on current issues associated with off-leash dogs, and just come back to the commission and let everybody know about what's currently going on at Whites Creek Park, aside from what we all have kind of seen and recognized, but kind of a little bit more detailed. So
That would be helpful, Colleen. Thank you.
With that said, I'm sorry, this is Doug Doolittle again. With that said, I'd still like to make a motion, but I'd like to amend the motion to include the other three parks so you can begin the pilot program and then bring back the information that you might be able to gather on that park and determine whether that's something that could be added later.
Yeah, this is Commissioner Menzel. I agree with what Commissioner Doolittle has said.
Starla Lee, I just had a quick question about, were there any other larger areas in the South that were considered other than this White Creeks Park?
We were looking at other parks. Horses were an issue. We want to stay away from wild horses. Proximity to playgrounds. There's other factors that we're looking at that we don't want to interfere with. Some parks, school gets out at a certain time and all the kids walk across the fields. So we're staying away from all that. We'd like to choose parks that just have the open, flat field for athletics, fully fenced if possible, to add. And next year, if this goes well, it would be great for City of Reno and Sparks to adopt it to include some of their parks as well that would fit, all of our guidelines.
Right. Obviously, a lot of things to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so what I'm hearing, it sounds like we're, as a commission, if there's any other comments, that we'd like to make a motion, but make an amendment to the motion to start with the 3 parks and not include White Creeks Park. Is that possible to make that amendment?
Yes, as far as open meeting law is concerned, that's possible.
Okay, perfect. And then before we do get into a motion, I just had a question, maybe a comment. So in reviewing, how the data will be collected, in here it's mentioned that park staff, rangers would at least, would go to the park at least once per day. Have you considered maybe utilizing volunteers who could get a better count? I just feel like if the park is open from 8 a.m. to sunset, that's a, long duration of time.
Yeah.
And to only view the park one time, you're not gonna get accurate numbers.
Yeah, for sure. We have a pretty good volunteer base, and we can definitely utilize them for getting numbers. So we're going to be creating spreadsheets and handing them out to all maintenance staff, all rangers, and we can, specify certain volunteers for a certain park. Maybe they go there every evening or, 8 a.m. or different times that we're not there, that they could get some numbers.
And I wonder, another idea, I don't know the cost of like those counters, but I know, some parks do have those tracking devices where just by movement or whatever that might be, as another recommendation to have a better gauge of how many, folks are truly using the off-leash.
For sure. We actually have some brand-new car counters that are going in at North Valleys.
Okay.
And at Lazy 5. So that could be part of our numbers as well.
Any other questions or comments before we go into a vote or motion? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion with the amendment that we?
Commissioner Nensel will make a motion. I would move to recommend that staff move forward with an off-leash dog pilot program at North Valleys Regional Park, Lazy 5 Regional Park, and South Valleys Regional Park, utilizing the flat fields found there as off-leash areas during non-league time, and evaluate the use after 1 year as indicated by the PowerPoint presentation we viewed.
This is Doug Doolittle. I will second that.
Okay, we'll go ahead into a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Great conversations.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to item 11, Program Park of the Month. We have the Outdoor Escape Room.
Good afternoon, commissioners, staff, and guests. For the record, Nick Stoyer, Park Ranger 2, Mount Rose District, based out of Davis Creek and Bowers Mansion Regional Park. And it's my honor to present to you the program of the month. It is the Outdoor Escape Room. This is a program I put on this past spring. It's a unique program designed to give folks the opportunity to visit and learn about cultural, historical and natural resources within our parks while having fun and socially distancing from others. And it runs itself, allowing park staff to focus on other duties. So that's a pretty unique thing. I got the idea from the Ash Meadows National Wildlife Refuge. They are located down near Las Vegas. And last fall, they put on an outdoor escape room. I made contact with the ranger down there and said, tell me all about it, because I want to do it up here. So he sent me information. They created a map. This is a map of the Ash Meadows Refuge. They identified 6 locations within the area and created signage for each location. And it basically allowed people to visit each location, learn about that location, answer some questions, and solve the riddle to get them out of the outdoors. This is their social media feedback after their event. A lot of participants, everyone had fun. And on the right there, the prize for the people that escaped the outdoors was a little animated GIF of their mascot doing a dance in the refuge. So that was kind of fun. So I took the idea and made it our own. The left is a map showing Bowers Mansion Regional Park and Davis Creek Regional Park, highlighting 6 important areas in that, sort of guiding people to where they could go, and made the signs on the right. And let's see. So this is an example of one of the stations. Station A, it was on the front porch of the mansion itself. And the promotional materials included verbiage that said, your Washoe County Park escape begins on the front porch of the Bowers Mansion, where you'll pick up an activity sheet from the table. The activity sheet includes instructions, a map, and a list of 6 clues that will guide you. So that was station 1. I had a sign-up sheet on the table so that they could put their name, their group name, how many people were in their group, and an email address. There were trail guides there as well. And let's see. This is a visual of the activity sheet, double-sided. Instructions on the upper left with the map, and then the riddles, 6 different clues that they had to solve to figure out where to go and answer the questions, and then the final riddle at the end, which would help them get out. So we're going to test your wits here in a minute. So instructions, their first instruction was to take a selfie in front of the mansion. They will need that later. So here's a couple of pictures of groups taking their selfies in front of the mansion. Next, read the location clues and use the map to navigate to the 6 stations where they will find visual clues for what words to write on the activity sheet. And then some of the letters from each of those answers would come together to solve that final park riddle at the bottom. This is another station that we had inside of the visitor center behind the mansion, where they learned about the native Washoe people. Okay, let's test your wits. Looking at the map, you are trying to find Station F. The location clue says, if you sit on one of these benches at the right time of year, you may get to see the park ranger talking about mule deer. I built this area as a service project because I know how important it is to volunteer. Any guesses on where you would go to find that visual clue? It's kind of hard to see on the map. There's 3 areas highlighted. At Bowers, you've got the cemetery, you've got the visitor center behind the mansion, and you've got the mansion. And then at Davis Creek, you've got the equestrian parking lot. You've got the start of the nature trail, and you've got the outdoor amphitheater. Where would you go to sit on a bench and listen to a park ranger talk about deer? Any guesses? The amphitheater, yes. Good job. So here's your visual clue. You get to the amphitheater, you see a sign, and it has this picture on it. And the question is, who am I? So who built the amphitheater? An Eagle Scout. Very good. You guys are pros. All right. So finally, once you've solved the final riddle, you can share your selfie on Facebook with the following as a caption. I escaped outdoors at Bowers Mansion Regional Park, hashtag answer to the riddle. If they did not have a Facebook account, I recommended that they email me their photo so that they could get their prize. This is some feedback, social media feedback, a little bit hard to read, but we had probably over 300 people. We did this over a course of 2 days, from 9 to 4 on a Friday and 9 to 4 on a Saturday. And over the course of the 2 days, we had just over 300 people total come out. A lot of families, a lot of kids, which was really exciting. So we got some good feedback on that. When they did complete or post that, I was monitoring those posts as well as my email, and they would receive either an email back or a message through Messenger congratulating them on escaping the outdoor escape room. And their prize, let's see if it plays, was an animated GIF of myself and District Manager Jeff Patterson dancing in front of the mansion. So that was our fun prize for them. Let's see, conclusion. So about 350 total people. Biggest challenge was social media. I had people telling me they posted the pictures with the hashtag, but when I went on there, I wasn't finding their post, and so I'm glad I had them sign in with their email because I could follow up that way. We would like to run the same program again. I was hoping this fall, but it looks like I'm gonna go for next spring. And I'm gonna do the same clues in the same locations. That way we're capturing people that weren't able to make it out this spring. We also want to do this in other parks. So Ranger Andy is currently working on a Galena edition, and I'd love to get other rangers in on it as well and do it up at Lazy Five or Bartley Ranch, because each park has unique spots that speak to the history and would be great to get people out. Any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. That was really fun and exciting to learn more about, and thank you for leading that for that park.
You're welcome.
I mean, just the creativity alone, I'm sure everyone enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or remarks for Nick?
I just think it's great. I think it's
Yeah.
350 for 2 days. That's really good.
Great
Yeah,
turnout.
it definitely shows a sense of creativity and enjoyment. So I kind of want to go do it.
Yeah, Darla Lee, me too. That was a great presentation. Lots of fun, and that I know the kids must have really, really enjoyed that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, we will go ahead and move on to item 12, Parks Reports.
For the record, Colleen Wallace Barnum, Park Operations Superintendent. I just wanted to highlight a few things. We did do the Truckee River cleanup. We had multiple sites where we did invasive weed removal in addition to some different cleanups. We did a really big cleanup at the Carcione property, which was one of our riverfront properties. So those were successfully attended by, KTMB volunteers in addition to several park staff. And I don't know if anybody has any questions about the park reports, but we, all of our aquatics facilities closed since this is for September and October, so those have closed down for the season. We had a rough go in August with the smoke. So we really, we had to, really follow the air quality protocols and had to close many of those days in August, which was really a bummer. But we muddled through. We made it through the holiday weekend for Labor Day, and then wound up shutting down for the season. But all in all, I think the majority of our aquatics facilities were well attended for the season. So, does anybody have any questions? And then did everybody receive the park, I think we mailed off the May Foundation annual report to everybody? Good, okay. So we had our report at the end of, or our meeting with the May Foundation at the end of September. It was a good meeting, so the staff puts in a lot of time into those reports. It's 100 pages long with a lot of pictures, but it's, I'm glad you all received it. But yeah, it was well received this year, and we continue to do that year to year to give annual reports, so. Okay, well, if that's all.
Thank you for the updates.
Absolutely.
This is Doug again. Colleen, great job on the report. Not just today, but the May Foundation report was very well put together. And I know there's always challenges, and I think you guys are stepping up and meeting those challenges. And thank you very much for everything that you and the staff do.
You're welcome. I will pass that on to the staff. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to item 13, Director's Report.
Good afternoon. For the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager and Director of the Community Services Department. Just a few updates for you based on board action over the past couple of months, actually. The Board of County Commissioners awarded a project down at the South Valley Sports Complex for some ADA improvements. I don't think that came before you all, but that is a project through our capital projects group to make some improvements down there at South Valley's Regional Park. Also, it continues to amaze me that the generous donations that roll in from our community to support parks. And so in September, the board accepted about $174,000 in donations through the parks, and that's in kind as well as cash donations. So some really good things happening, from our community through our parks, and I do really appreciate the generosity of our community. Also, a couple things that did come through this body. The board acknowledged and agreed to the abandonment of the termination of rights reverters for the Hunter Creek project. That was the sale of land that I believe came through this board last month. The board also initiated the repeal and initiate the proceedings to change Chapter 95. So you've heard about that as well. So that's the Parks chapter. So we'll be bringing that before the Board of County Commissioners hopefully soon. A big item, as you'll recall, the board, or you heard the Wild Creek Golf proposal from First Tee of Northern Nevada. And so the board did two actions throughout the month of September and October to basically transfer that property to First Tee for use as a public golf course. So we're going through all the due diligence right now for that to occur. So had the requisite public hearings to get that taken care of. So we're moving down that path to get First Tee a home and continue golf operations at the Wild Creek property, which is really great. And then the board also took care of, approved a trail easement between Washoe County and Hunt Harris. This is out in Spanish Springs for a trail easement associated with the development that's going on out there. And then they approved the extension of the Washoe County and Cal Maz Golf Management Agreement out at Sierra Sage. So those are the actions by the board over the last couple of months that are of interest to you all. As far as the director's report specifically, Washoe County is getting to that point where we're starting our discussions around budget and capital improvements. So I'd like to take the opportunity to request from all park commissioners an email if you've got any ideas that you've heard from any of your constituents related to park needs that you've heard over the years that we can maybe possibly roll into budgeting, whether that's capital needs at any of our parks or programmatic needs that you've heard about and need to discuss with us. So I'd like to solicit those emails from you over the next month if that's possible. So with that, that is my director's report, and I'll leave it up to any questions you may have.
Thank you for the updates. Do we have any questions? Not hearing anything?
All right.
We'll go ahead and move on.
Thank you.
All right, item 14, commissioners' comments. No comments here in the chambers. Any comments via Zoom from our commissioners?
This is Doug. I'm fine. Thank you.
All right.
As is Commissioner Mansell. No comments.
Okay, Thank you. All right, how about public comments?
No additional public comment.
Okay. Well, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 3:39 PM. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.